Yeah, I mean, at that point, it was kind of pushed on us, and honestly, at that point, I was like, I'm not sure if we're ready for it. But I mean, we were way ready for it, and it's just again, you have to know how to buy your time back and what your value is. And I tell agents this all the time, right? If you're a $150 agent, how are you going to make it to $250 an hour? You know, that's $100 gap, right? Are you going to either spend more time doing more work? That does not increase your hourly work wage. That actually probably brings it down. And the theme is, can you get experts to come in to help you? Like my transaction coordinators know the back end of a transaction way better than me. Like I don't know which town and which CO and this and that. Like I don't need to know.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Today's guest is a New Jersey-based realtor and investor who is launching a mortgage company and expanding investment operations down into Florida. Please welcome Justin Bosak. Justin, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Dylan.
I always like to start off at the top of the show by asking folks how they got into the real estate space.
Yeah, so quite some time ago, 2003, got into real estate knowing that I wanted to do it early on. I did a report in high school and thought it was a really cool job. Kind of just going through the process. I was not a guy that was ever going to do great in school because I was just bored with it. I was good until high school, and I figured I don't need English class, and I hate algebra, so I'm not going to college. If so I was in management for McDonald's. I got out early from high school work release. Then I moved on to a company called Aldi Foods as a manager. I quickly worked up to running a store for them. At that point, I'm like 21 years old, and I kind of reached the top. Because in order to become a supervisor, I needed a 4-year degree, which was ridiculous because, I knew more than the guy that was supervising the stores.
Yeah.
I was making good money, but I knew that at 21 and, working like 78 hours a week and a salary and commuting so far that there was no way that, this was going to be life for me. I jumped out, got my real estate license, did construction, for a little bit while I was going through the process. Yeah, 22 years later, here I am.
What was that first year like hopping into the real estate space? I know a lot of people have different journeys and sometimes people don't know what to expect. Did you have mentors? Did you have family in the business? Did you have friends? What was the first year like?
Nobody. Absolutely nobody, which is crazy. I lucked out because I landed with a company that allowed me to come in and work kind of behind the scenes. So I was picking up calls to begin with, booking appointments and stuff for the company. This was a company called Foxton's. They were discount brokerage back then. So they had a few agents and had a big team back office, and they just did a lot of volume. So then I learned that you can make more money doing cold calling. So I jumped over to that department, was cold calling for a little bit. At that time, they didn't even have buyer's agents. It was just listing agents.
All right.
And they were listing for like 2% back then.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
But then they opened it up and they had buyer's agents. So I started doing that. And that lasted until 2007, when the company closed. It was great because I got to learn the business and got that experience, early on from the system that was set up the right way. It was kind of more corporate the way it was ran, but it was
Sure.
also kind of set up like a boiler room because like all the management was young. There's a lot of company events, a lot of company trips, great culture. So kind of doing that, and then when the company closed and then going into traditional real estate, I was like, what is this? Like, this is terrible. Traditional real estate in 2008 and 2009 was trash, honestly. I mean,
Let's talk about the juxtaposition here. So you were in a non-traditional space versus traditional. What were the deals like in the non-traditional space? Because I come from a non-traditional real estate background as a wholesaler, right?
So I mean, I was a buyer's agent, so I was really a traditional agent in every sense because I was really handling all my deals. But like the listing agents for our company, they just went out, they got paid to list the house, and then you would never talk to the listing agent again. There's three different people on the back end, you'd call into. So if you got an offer, you talk to a negotiator. If got the deal closed or under contract, and then go to a closing coordinator, and they would kind of walk the client through. So you kind of passed on to a couple different people, and a listing agent really wasn't there anymore. They were just, signing paperwork and pretty much price reductions, and then that's it. And they were gone after that.
Hmm.
The cool thing about the company was that back then, and again, this is 2003, 4, and 5, they had professional photographers, which traditional real estate companies did not have. Even the best agents weren't using them.
Yeah.
They were doing floor plans for the houses as well. And this was like all included. There wasn't like an extra fee to do it. So once we got into traditional real estate, we were like, we got to keep doing this stuff. This is really good stuff. This is how most properties or a lot of properties are getting more than asking, because you're just exposing it the right way. So the company knew how to actually expose and market properties. There was some disconnect, I guess, a little bit about the process with them. Yeah, it was a great system, and we just kind of took that. Me and probably at that time, it was 5 other guys. We all had different roles within the company. So we just wanted to continue doing real estate, and we know we needed each other because we didn't want to do each other's jobs. So I was a buyer's agent. I had a listing agent, and I was getting the leads from the listings, obviously. So I needed the listing agents. And then we had the back end guys doing cold calling, 2 guys doing cold calling as well. So yeah, we came together, formed a team from the company, and went in and negotiated, an awesome deal. We walked in the door. We were like, we want laptops, we want cell phones, we want like sign-on bonus, and they're like, we don't do this. What are you talking about? But we broke down our system and how it worked, and we actually got it, not knowing that wasn't normal because our company was only paying us, I think, I don't know, as a buyer's agent, 18 to maybe 30% of the commission. But I had a company car, health insurance, I had a base salary, I had a laptop, cell phone, all included. So again, like we didn't understand the difference between traditional real estate. We just knew how to do deals.
So that really must have been the heyday, or maybe the tail end of the absolute heyday of cold calling. I mean, you had to probably get everybody was picking up, right?
But yeah, it was normal for people to pick up the phone. Yeah, I mean, there was no texting really back then.
Yeah.
If you texted, it was like, you had to hit the 1 3 times to get the sig. Nobody was texting back
Yeah.
then. Yeah, email wasn't really that big, back then. Everything was legit cold calling, and people would actually answer the phones back then.
Different time, different time. I want to ask you about the pivot points along your journey as a real estate entrepreneur. You talk about, getting started, a lot of time on the phone, and that probably continued, but then scaling to where you are today, where you've got the investments, New Jersey, Georgia, Florida, opening the mortgage company, and I believe you mentioned the title company as well. What were the pivot points on your way to get to where you are today?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet, for real estate investors and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
It was always just pushing so hard and wanting to do so much, like almost breaking the system and kind of continuing to like reach a ceiling. So we had tried to do a combination brokerage with our former brokers, and they didn't want us to leave. We were talking about doing our own thing. And we said, you know what, we just want to do business. You take care of the back office. We don't want to learn about finance and all that stuff or run compliance or deal with all that. We just want to go out and do work. But then we learned that once we were scaling and we wanted to bring in different things to the office, that broker was like, "Oh, well, we have two other offices. If we allow you to do that here, then we have to offer it to the whole company." And we're like, "Well, we should. We're going to beta test it. We're going to show you that it works."
Yeah.
Some things was bringing in a closing coordinator. So this was back in like 2016. That wasn't really a big service back then. And now it's transaction coordinators. That definitely caught on.
Yeah.
But we knew that helped us scale, and it allowed us to do what we do best, get out there in the field, meet clients, and get deals done. Field services as far as like delivering signs and delivering marketing materials and stuff like that. Again, another thing that I don't want to do. I don't need to be the guy that does that. I can be there and make sure the designs are good, but that's it. I don't need to install the sign. Back in the day, I used to have to buy a car and that would fit signs in it. That's kind of ridiculous as a real estate agent to kind of run your business like that. But
Right.
if your brokerage doesn't offer somebody to install signs, and then you have a client that wants to install a nice white post, what are you going to do? You can't put that in a convertible. So these services we knew were going to, yeah, these services we knew, these were going to just make us more efficient, more effective. Yeah, I mean, we opened the company and then offered these services, to the regular agents that wanted to come in. And then all of a sudden, we went from a team of 10, now the team's 25. More independent agents were impressed by these services. So now we have 100 and I think 60 or 70 agents across 3 offices.
In talking with you here briefly, Justin, not to cut you off, but I just get a sense that you're both a systems guy and a people guy, which I think is rare. A lot of times people are kind of one or the other. I have a lot of friends who are great on the phone, kind of great face-to-face salespeople, but then I say, they don't like processes at all. And I say it's almost frustrating because if they could do the processes and the people, it would just be a game over. And then, of course, you see the inverse, where you see a lot of people who love the systems and the processes, but maybe they're highly analytical almost to a fault, right? You seem to have meshed both of those well. And I even asked you before hopping on the podcast, did you decide to become a broker yourself? And you said, no, I'm partnered with it, but I didn't want to be in the office all day and I have other businesses. Is that something that you're very intentional about as far as being in both worlds, as the people guy and the systems guy, or has it always been that way?
Yeah, it's known your strengths. So I learned early on that I was a leader by example. I was not going to be, and this is going all the way back to McDonald's days, so I would not tell anybody to go sweep and then never sweep. I would always know how to do everything, and they would see me helping out. Like nothing was beneath me. And that carried through throughout my career. Nothing that I'm telling somebody to do is nothing that I'm not willing to get my hands dirty and actually do. And I feel like a lot of leaders, let's just call them brokers, they're telling agents what to do and they've never done it before. So then when there's follow-up questions, they don't have any answers. They just heard it from somebody else, but they haven't went through the process to kind of feel it, touch it, and kind of navigate, through, all right, this is the best way to do it. And this is how and why. And these are the metrics that I looked at to kind of, make these decisions. They're just saying, no, just do this. I just heard this. No, you can't tell somebody to just do something without kind of deep diving. So again, I like to get my hands dirty, and then the process, that's everything. But I learned that through hiring an assistant back in the day, that I didn't have to touch everything. I didn't need to have that. I'm more of a creative.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So marketing and advertising, like I love that stuff. But I learned that, hey, if I can just create the template and then have somebody else plug and play, like I've done my job, I can walk away and then I could say, well, just send it to me if it's something really important. I'll take a second look at it, but that's it. Like I don't want to be micromanaging, templated stuff. And now it's kind of like I've taught, so we have a marketing team too. I have two marketing people, I have two transaction coordinators, and the marketing team is now learning how to, use a virtual assistant
Right.
to take the template stuff off of their plate and to plug and play so they can be more creative. And that's kind of the space you want your marketing person to be in. At first, they were a little fearful of, having a virtual assistant. Like, oh no, is my job safe? I'm like, oh, trust me, your job's safe. I need somebody to quarterback this stuff. But the stuff that is taking up your time, I know you're busy. I don't need a third marketing person. We just need somebody to kind of handle the template stuff.
I think a lot of people are unaware of how much there's kind of menial tasks that are taking up their time. And I think we're becoming more aware of this as mass adoption, especially in the real estate space of AI and chat GPT, right? But you mentioned having an assistant years ago and you saw early on, and then you've implemented it into your teams. And I love teams that do this. I'm part of a team that does this, where everyone is trying to be most efficient with their time. So you can focus on, the signal and not the noise, right? As the saying goes, right? What was it about having an assistant and about making sure that everyone on your team is locked in where you decided, hey, this is really worth the expense? And yeah, we're spending maybe more money on assistants, but it's worth it in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it was kind of pushed on us, and honestly, at that point, I was like, I'm not sure if we're ready for it. But I mean, we were way ready for it, and it's just again, you have to know how to buy your time back and what your value is. And I tell agents this all the time, right? If you're a $150 agent, how are you going to make it to $250 an hour? That's $100 gap, right? Are you going to either spend more time doing more work? That does not increase your hourly wage. That actually probably brings it down. And the theme is, can you get experts to come in to help you? Like my transaction coordinators know the back end of a transaction way better than me. Like I don't know which town and which CO and this and that. Like I don't need to know that stuff. I don't know what the price is. I don't know about the utilities. I don't need to know any of that stuff. They know that. And if you can pay them, a solid wage, let's just say it's, they're making 30 something dollars an hour, but you're buying back your time, so you can go do the more productive things and efficient things that are going to make you $300 an hour.
Right.
It's a rules game. It's habits, routines, and then rules. In order to get into the right habits and routines, you need to create rules for yourself. And I learned early on, in order to get a raise, I need to create rules to stop doing the things to make less money. So back in, let's say 2000, I think 13, I was like getting maxed out. I was like, I know I don't have more time in the day, and I know I'm maxed out at like 50 deals, running, helping to run the team and doing deals. So what do I have to do? All right, what if I just stopped working with buyers under 200,000? Like, and back then, obviously, that was cheap. There's no $200,000 buyers really anymore. But back then, and for inflation, let's say it's 450, right? And then you cut that off and you create that rule, right? And you can break that rule, right? If it's somebody that friend, family, something like that, you could always still do that business. It's not all about money, but it's about time. Because if you're taking away, all right, I have a team member that can work with that lead. I'll just go on text with them. I'll be on the email chain with them. I'll make sure they're taken care of, but I don't have to go run around and show them 50 or 60 homes because I want to focus on getting listings. I want to focus on getting higher end clients, because, that time away means that I could miss out on an opportunity for $1 million buyer, or $1 million listing. And that's how you raise your salary or your average wage is by focusing on, all right, if I can do 50 deals and they're all $1 million deal average, right? That's the same amount of time for the most part. Yeah, you're going to spend more money in marketing and advertising, but I mean, you're extremely going to get a raise upon, maybe a $600,000 or $700,000 average. Or, even most agents that are starting out, their average is probably like that 450, price point. So
This conversation reminds me actually about the importance of this because yes, it's a logistical, you're buying back your time. There's certain tasks that can be delegated, but also if your personality and your time and your brain literally is focused constantly on the tasks that are going to be the highest level problems that really only you can solve, that cannot be delegated, then anything else that is like not crucial, you're thinking, oh wait, I shouldn't be doing this. And then at the point where you're at, Justin, which is where I'm trying to get to, is, how can I open up businesses? Where's the best use of my time? Who can I partner with? What are the strategic relationships? Instead of like, I've got to send this contract out, right? And so when we start to get into that other mindset, then it's a matter of, okay, these are the most important tasks. Which ones do I prioritize among these? And then that's when really, I think the magic happens.
yeah, it allows you to kind of focus on, like you said, the things that matter the most or where you want to go, right? Because I always have thoughts on how to expand and build on the foundation, right? I tell people, build the foundation first, make sure that's strong, make sure it's all operational, right? And then it's stacking the bricks on top, and once you do that, like now you've got a strong foundation and a strong building to, a healthy career. And there's a lot of different bricks, and I kind of go through all those different things, with clients. But if it's, the first thing's the foundation and understanding habits, times, routines, the hours you're working, so one of the things that could free you up, when dealing back in the day without a transaction coordinator, like I was chasing all my emails and following up from like 7 o'clock to like 10 o'clock at night. I was watching TV. I was telling myself like, okay, this is kind of like downtime, but I was missing out on family experience and family life. Like now I don't have to do that because I have somebody that's really proactive where I was reactive during that time. And I'm almost sending emails for the next day, knowing that I'm going to be on the road all day. And hey, can you do these things? But I'm not going to be able to read the response for maybe like 12 hours. Like that's not efficient. That's not productive. If I have somebody that is going to be literally in the office all day and can respond like that, they need a commission statement or they need the CO booked or whatever it is. It's like within 5 minutes they can get it done.
It makes a huge difference. It makes all the difference in the world. I think that, time kills deals. Everyone knows that, right? And so having that offloaded and then also having that faster response rate, it just is tremendous on so many fronts. Justin, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go if they'd maybe like to reach out to you, if they're thinking of getting a shore home or would just like to reach out to you?
Yeah, justinbosak.com, JUSTINBOS as in Sam, AK.com. All my links and handles are on there and just all kinds of different things. If you want to download anything from there too, I've got stuff for you.
Justin, thank you for coming on the show here today.
No problem, Dylan. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.